All right, Zachary. Well, here we go. Right. It is Tuesday. We're up and running. Here we go. Finally, it's a chilly night out here. I'm a little chilly on the production, but it's a Tuesday night nonetheless. Welcome everyone. It's November 17th. It's a little bit of sports talk here. We're calling. Uh, I got my. Oh, I hate this. I have my speakers on my headphones while I got the other stream. Oh, that's awful. That was so awful. I could hear myself like. I guess the intro sounded all right until that part, but all right. But nonetheless, we're calling Zach Rothenberg. We got a great Tuesday night show rolling. We were just saying before the show, Zach, it's weird not having a live football game kind of coming up. I feel like like we had Cole last week, or we had like a game on Monday, Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football. But all right, it's just us. We're chit chatting back on a little Tuesday grind here.
Yeah. Gotta love a little Tuesday evening, football talk, sports talk, any kind of talk. So it's all good. We're excited.
Yeah. We'll get the chat cooking. We got already, you can see on all the intros here what we got cooking. Though we got some NFL chatter. Obviously, I feel like we're always talking football.
Yeah.
With some really good Week 11 games coming up, and we'll talk to that point of what Monday night game last night as well. And then we'll do a little NBA chatter with their free agency, a little baseball. So we can get into it. And like I said, want to hear from the chat tonight. And then we'll do a little show versus street. We always do. It's Tuesday. And then why not? Should we get things rolling with a little clickbait though, Zach?
Yeah, might as well just tee it up like we always do, right?
Hey, that's let's rock and roll.
All right, perfect. So yeah, everyone knows the Giants and myself. We're very. I'm always up to speed on the latest news, and I don't know if you heard, Kieran, but DeAndre Baker, all the charges were dropped, and he's innocent. All of a sudden, proven innocent. And there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, the Giants."
Fair, right? You're not really proving your innocence if the charges were dropped. You're just innocent of the crimes that you're right. Like
right.
There's nothing really proven. It's just all of a sudden the charges no longer exist because someone decided not pursue them.
Right.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
No, exactly. So of course everyone's saying, "Oh, the Giants should sign DeAndre Baker," or in this case, the article is saying DeAndre Baker would love to return to the Giants. Well, I'm sure he would love to return to the Giants. He's not getting paid right now, so of course he's going to love to return to the Giants. Who would want to return to a professional football team?
Do you see? He's got a tryout with the Chiefs.
Does he really?
Yeah, he apparently flew. I guess, or not flew, but he went to New Jersey today, got the rest of his stuff, and then flew to Kansas City for a meeting or whatever with the Chiefs tomorrow morning.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. Breaking news for you here.
Hey, he's got the build to be a really good cornerback, but it's hard to tell after his rookie year. So hey, hopefully he lands somewhere. But the last thing the Giants I think would want to do is it's clickbait because the Giants should not have any desire to bring him back because why bring someone new into the mix when you have something perfectly cooking right now?
Oh, a little bonus episode on Sunday. That was fun. We got Alex in the Twitch chat going.
Oh yeah.
What about the bonus episode? I was saying, we did a little Sunday. I like those Sunday shows. They're fun.
Yeah, it's a good little pregame warm up. Before we go to war in the afternoon, right?
I know. And it's like therapy. Real quick before we get out there. Yeah, we always give a little. We're trying to grind. Try to get some picks in there. My were not so hot yesterday. Dude,
hey, you went 3-1. You went 3-1 on the site.
Did I go 3-1?
Yeah, you went 3-1 on the site. I'd say it's pretty good.
But the Bears didn't cover.
Yeah, but your other 3 picks did.
Kirk
threw a pick, and both of Dalvin Cook's unders in the receiving game and rushing were under.
No, they hit.
No, he didn't run for over 91 yards.
Yeah, he did. He had 96.
Oh, geez. Well, maybe I don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the last drive, he literally ran. It was awful. Yeah, and it's been tough the last few weeks. Because the funny thing is, Alex, like buckle up, brother, because I'm looking at these slate of games coming up, and it's not going to get any easier. Oh my God, it's gonna be wild. Just start thinking about Thursday night. It's going to be insane with the base of the Battle of the West, right? Cardinals and Seahawks, and obviously the Rams are great in there too.
Yeah, it's probably the best Thursday night football game on schedule in a long time.
I think so, right? Yeah. I was actually thinking about that in my head too. It's funny you were thinking about that. But yeah, no, to the DeAndre Baker point, yeah. Good judge, no nonsense. But to that point, I guess I'll flip over real quick into the baseball circuits. I'll make this quick, though, because we'll probably go in a little baseball in a little bit. But it's more Zach. It's this idea of any time in Philadelphia when someone of any high market or like a big name person leaves anywhere, all of a sudden there's an instant article out by WIP blogging basically saying, that Theo Epstein. Oh wow, look at this! I couldn't even crop this correctly. Come on, Kieran, you're better than this.
Hey, it's a cliffhanger. Who are they going to come after?
Look at that. Yeah, you're right. Look at that. God, that was awful. Yeah, like, but yeah. So I don't know. I'm not with that. But I don't think Theo Epstein's going to go to the Phillies. That's not the project you want to take on if you just leave the Cubs. Right now and try to clean that up, especially when it looks like the Phillies didn't even really make any actual changes because they're kind of going to still roll with the Andy McPhail crew.
Mm-hmm.
Contact still somewhere in the building doing something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. All right, but to that point, let's jump in. Let's do some football chatter. Yeah. So we got a great show. Like I was saying, yeah, we got some football, all sorts of good stuff. Do you want to start the Monday night game?
Yeah, let's do it. It was a pretty uneventful game, I'd say, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, give me your take on it.
I think both teams look bad. So to say that, but I will say it seems like the play calling didn't matter for Chicago. Unfortunately for them, it seems like the play calling with Bill Lazor didn't matter versus Matt Nagy. Nothing really changed too much. Besides, I saw they got Allen Robinson the ball a little early on, but then they basically stopped after the first quarter. They keep doing the same thing. It's like those toss plays, Cordell Patterson, the running plays. It's like, dude, this isn't it. It's pretty clear. The defense is the only reason why they are the record that they have.
It's awful. It's awful.
Yeah, and it really is. I mean, the Vikings have been showing some life, as we know.
Yeah.
And I think they might have reinserted themselves in a little bit of a conversation now.
Yeah, I know we're going to get to that a little bit later on the show, that topic. But yeah, and I'll not to say, oh, we're not going to talk about it now. No, I'll give a general just overview of everything, I think, in general, right? So we talked about this, right? We said this game was going to go it's funny. I thought we thought it could go a few different ways. And I think in a way it went a blend of it, right? Like Dalvin Cook didn't go off. It was a very gritty 96 yards. By the way, the under receiving, I think, did hit.
Under receiving hit, yeah.
2 for 2. But no, I think, it's fine. I saw a tweet that I think sums it up pretty perfectly for the Bears. It's right. Like their defense, it's like that Super Bowl commercial last year. But I think the Bears defense is phenomenal, but their offense is anemic. Like there's really no other way to put it. And last night I thought just in general was kind of a horror show and but there's so many levels to this if you're a Bears fan, and I feel kind of bad because they're just sitting here probably watching like little Packers. But no, I can be third party here for a second, right? I think this game is more about the Bears losing than the Vikings winning because as they kind of were saying on Good Morning Football, I don't know how much the math's there for the Vikings, right?
Yeah.
Not to say that they can't come back, but I think it's for every argument you want to make that the Vikings are in it at 4-5, aren't the Lions in it at 4-5, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they're the same record. So there's that. But on the flip side, right, looking at the Bears, you just kind of dropped another game in the divisional race. That doesn't help. You've lost, 4 straight?
Yeah, I believe 4 straight.
4 straight. Yeah. The last game they won was the Falcons game, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. No, I think that's it.
Or was it the Bucs game? It was the Bucs game.
Yeah, Bucs. You're right because the whole Brady Foles hoopla. Yeah.
Sorry, did I cut out there for you?
Yeah, you cut out.
I was saying they honestly should have lost that game too. Not sure, but they were very close to losing it. They could be winless right now. That's how bad they like. They are the opposite of the Chargers, where it's like you can play actually okay game and somehow always find a way to lose. The Falcons know that pretty well too. And I'm dropping pens over here trying to pick it up and look smooth. But right, I mean, they're a dumpster fire in my opinion, and I think the number. First of all, in the second half, right, their only touchdown in the entire game was the Patterson kick return for a touchdown. They went 3 and out in every single series but 2 in the second half. The Vikings had the ball for 12 more minutes. The Vikings went 55% on third down, which is like not bad, right, with that Bears defense. Right, it's the same story where even as a football fan, even though I'm not a really big Bears fan, I feel for that team. That defense is so good. They play with so much heart and grit and attitude. And I even said to Joe yesterday, is defense play with that type of with that grind, that effort, that hustle. They don't. But yeah, so right, it's the same old story. And now we're talking again, like, would there be a quarterback change? And then all the while, right? I mean, you look at it. So then Nick Foles gets carted off the field, and right, good news for him. It sounds like it's not serious at all. They still listed him as what, day to day. Looks like we're trying to read the tweet. Yeah, something with like his hip, and I don't know. They're going to be working through it. But then there's this whole thing with the Trubisky's shoulders hurt. But then you also got to remember, it's like, well, he's hurt because they were running gadget plays with him. It's like, what are you doing? They are so unorthodox in every way they do things. It's so bizarre, and it's right, like, it's so gross. Like, it's awful. Like, they're not fun to watch. Like you said, it wasn't a great game. Now let me stop there, right? And then, unless you want to jump in, do you want to talk about the Bears, then we'll go to the Vikings after that?
Yeah, I was going to say that if you look, and I know I had this take with, I think it was the Eagles yesterday, but if you look at the sideline, there's a lot of very bad body language, and I think I don't think we're the only ones noticing the play calling and how ridiculous this coaching has been. So I think that team's going to start just tearing itself apart from the inside out. I would be very surprised if Allen Robinson signs with them after this season, because he's he's a unrestricted free agent. So I think they're going to lose him. And this is one of those things that, hey, they might finish 6-10 and get like a middle of the first round draft pick and not get one of those top 5, premier picks. So they might just be kind of hurting themselves more than helping right now.
Yeah, on the flip side, they could turn it around. I mean,
I don't think they have the coaching to do it. I think they have talent, but I don't think it's being utilized nearly the way it should.
Yeah, and the way I look at it, they got to go to Green Bay on Sunday Football. Granted, there's no fans, and I know I'm trying to be funny. It's like the last 2 teams that went in there didn't exactly have illustrious records, and they had no problem playing well there. So I'm not super, concerned right now. But right, and they're going to fight for their lives in that game. We got Trust cooking in the chat. How we doing, brother?
Hey, Trust.
Yeah, so I think, right, there's a lot of issues. Now let's go to the Vikings here then for a second, right?
Yeah.
I thought they played well. I think, a lot of people were saying, like, oh, they didn't look all that. I thought they played good. Like, that's a tough play. Like, the Bears have a good defense. The Bears played well defensively. They had a special teams touchdown. Like, they did some things to do okay. Cousins played well. Thielen played great. Jefferson looked good.
I was just saying, can we talk about Justin Jefferson? I mean,
yeah, they're very balanced, and honestly, they are a very dangerous team right now.
They really are. They're catching fire. Dalvin Cook is literally cooking right now.
Yeah, he is.
Justin Jefferson. I mean, is it too early to say that he's a top Rookie of the Year candidate?
No.
I don't think so, right? I mean, he's outplaying every other receiver that was drafted before him. Henry Ruggs has been non-existent. I know because I drafted him in fantasy. Jerry Jeudy has had 1, maybe 2 good games this year. So, and CeeDee Lamb, like he'll go a game where he has a catch for -2 yards. So I don't get that, but it's just Justin Jefferson's proving himself to be the real deal. And this is the year after they lost Kevin Stefanski too as their offensive coordinator, the high flying offense they did have. So what's that say about them? They're looking up. Things are looking up for them.
So you kind of cut out there at the end.
Yeah. Not saying things are looking up for them.
It's not our stream. It's actually just it's my connection with you right now. It's like
it's weird.
Stable.
Yeah. I feel like every like 5 minutes it's like
little choppiness.
Yeah.
A little chop in the water tonight. That's
choppy
right.
Tuesday. Yeah. A little rough
yeah,
Friday.
Yeah, it is a little choppy Tuesday. because there's so many highlights to load up tonight. All like 10 of them. All right, but anyway, let's. It's funny. I have an analogy for you, and I was talking to you obviously about it before the show, and I probably should share it. I might actually just get the text out because I want to make sure I get it right. And I usually don't do this. But, like I don't really like to plan them, um, but it's funny, right? We're talking about movies, and I think Bambi's one of the worst movies ever. But that's just my personal take. But well, I probably shouldn't have dropped that in there before I start using it in an analogy. But forget I said that. Let's just jump into it. I feel like this Matt Nagy experience is like the movie Bambi, right? Think about it. You go into it thinking like, oh, it's from the Disney tree, it's from the Andy Reid tree. That's good. It's got to be good, right? Most of it's good stuff. It's not. It's like sure there are really good fruit off. Like there's really good piece of fruit off those trees. Great Disney movies, a lot of great coaches that came from Andy Reid, and that whole river. But I don't see it in Chicago, right? And then it's like, let me just keep going. I got the whole thing right here. And it's one of those things, coach, right? Those like, don't realize this baby's a bad movie. They're just like, oh, well, it's like, it's just not great, right? Just kind of like how, like, oh, they want coach, like, there's still some type of cachet behind, like, oh, they want coach of the year, and like, no one's actually one bad, like, but even though that's like, okay, they didn't win a playoff game that year, right? And then all the while, it's like, you're right, the movie's just like, just kind of a dark, like there's no real happy times during it. It's like seems like the animals are feuding, and then I would really analogize the scene with the birds down there in like the bushes, and oh god, when I was a kid, that was dark. That was the dark. That was like rated R for me as a kid.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That bird just decides to go up, and the hunter takes just shoots the living hell out of it. That's like when they're trying to run these pitch plays to like Patterson on 3rd and 6, or they're running like a sideways pass on 2nd and 10. And it's just like, oh my god, it's brutal. Yeah. It's suicidal too, just like the bird flying up in the sky. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of how I would wrap the Matt Nagy experience, though.
I agree. It's very tough to watch, and I don't think you couldn't have painted a better picture with that analogy. To be honest, when you texted me that today, I was dying laughing. It's so spot on. It's so true. It's tough on the eyes, Kieran.
Well, there's no shot he actually gets fired, right? After this year.
Ooh, I don't think so. I don't think so because of his success the last previous couple of years. So
yeah, they're in a weird spot.
Yeah, I really do think though after this season it's going to be a rebuild for them. They're going to be.
Did they get rid of Pace then? Their GM, Ryan Pace?
Probably because I feel like if you're I don't know why they didn't lock Allen Robinson up before the season started, to be quite honest with you.
So he goes and then they say Nagy, you're on thin ice.
Yeah, I think so. Or better yet, knowing the way the world works, they'll just tell Matt Nagy that he should be the GM and the head coach and see how that turns out.
Oh, sorry, I missed what Trust was saying earlier about Rookie of the Year candidates too. Herbert or Burrow, though. I think Herbert can honestly win it. He's been slinging the rock.
Yeah.
I don't know. By the way, what's your thoughts? And this is a good way to just kind of segue into normal football chatter. What's your thoughts on? All right, let's take a look at what the chat was saying. Will the Eagles spend the money to rebuild? Well, the funny thing is, I think that's almost like an oxymoron. You don't really spend the money to rebuild. I think you got to draft. And from the ground up and then use your money correctly. Whereas, and I'm not trying to be this guy, I think you are a pretty good example with the Giants where you signed Janoris Jenkins and Snacks and right and all. I mean, the list goes on and on. And then it looked good for a cup of coffee, and then it just kind of right. So I don't need to tell you. So to that point, now you're rebuilding, you're drafting better. You just drafted your quarterback, you're starting to look better, right? You got your homegrown coach, and once I hope you get rid of your GM, I think it'll be looking a lot better. But right, but I think that's the way to do it. It's not by spending the money.
Yeah, no, I agree, completely agree. Getting value and talent out of the draft seems to be more effective than going out and spending your whole purse on free agents. You said it perfectly. The Giants did it, and we saw how great that worked out for us a couple of years ago. So
yeah. All right, but let me ask you this. This is a good way to kind of segue into some more football chatter. The Lions are 4-5 in this whole thing. Like where do they rank in
Yeah,
this
right.
whole picture? Seriously.
Well, if I'm ranking the NFC North from from a power rankings just in the division, I mean obviously the Packers are first. I'd have to say the Vikings are second, to be quite honest. And I even give the Lions third. I give the Bears the last. I give the Bears the fourth seed, even though technically they're the second in that division right now, just because of trends and just the way things are going for them. And the outlook, in my opinion, is just horrible. You know,
Well, and I was curious. I'm looking into the chat. What the Eagles drafted another quarterback. Well, I think you go with Hurts, I guess, right? Did they already do that?
yeah, I would think so. I think if the Eagles drafted another quarterback in this year's draft, I think that the city of Philadelphia would be on fire, or the lake would be on fire at least.
Yeah, I
So
think. And you paid all that money to Carson Wentz. They can't draft another
it
quarterback.
just questions that like it just questions makes you question why they even drafted Hurts this year to begin with. But yeah, it nothing would surprise me. Put it to you that way. Whatever they do.
No, yeah, you're right. That's for sure. All right, but let's roll. Let's flow into a little football chatter. So, I find this Sunday night football game so intriguing, Zach.
Yeah,
I really, truly do.
I was going to ask you about this. This is good.
Please, light on me. What do you got?
Well, because you and I were pretty loyal viewers of Good Morning Football, and Kyle Brandt this morning said that he thinks if the Raiders beat the Chiefs Sunday night, they are a Super Bowl contender. I think that's a little too hot of a take. What do you think?
So I know what he means. Because he's been saved twice.
Yeah.
Like once isn't a mirage, right? It's like kind of like the fool me once, fool me twice, that whole thing, right? But
Yeah.
right, if you beat him once, even if it was an arrowhead, still kind of a mirage. But you do it twice, then you just beat the team that's just won the whole damn thing. Like you can beat anybody, right?
True, but are the Chiefs that team this year? Are the Chiefs that team?
It could be. I mean, yeah, because they're. It's one of those things, right? Like I hate to be this guy and like water down the segment, but it's like, right, the winner isn't always maybe the best team. The winner is the guy that plays the best in that tournament. But there's also, we could argue last year, right? There was like 6 teams that were good enough to win it, right? Hell, that's why it's not the NBA where we know it's going to be like X, Y, or Z at the end of the road.
Yeah.
So to that point, the Chiefs are good enough to be in that group of the precious 5 or 6 teams that are good enough to win the Super Bowl, like legit are good enough to win the Super Bowl. And so, yes, I think if you are the Raiders and you can win twice this year, and you're 7-3, all of a sudden, we talked about this yesterday when we were just kind of recapping and figuring it out loud. We were saying, wow, they win this game next week at home on primetime, which I mean, I'm not saying you kind of do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're right there. And the Chiefs have some tough games coming up.
Yeah, they do. I feel like the Chiefs' defense has been more so this year than previous years has been very questionable. That's the only reason why I say are the Chiefs really that team that if you beat them, you're all of a sudden.
Their defense is always questionable. It's just like right.
True. No, that's a good point. That's kind of been their stigma the last several years, ironically enough, even though they do have Steve Spagnuolo, who I think is a great defensive coordinator. They just seem like they're one of those flexible defenses that can break, fairly easily.
Ben don't break. By the way, it's funny. Did you hear this whole like bus thing?
With the Raiders doing the victory lap.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit about on the show yesterday how we were like, oh, well, Andy Reid to this. And I guess John Gruden, did you hear what his response was?
No.
All right, here, I'm going to play it for everyone real quick. So this was his response. Well, you'll hear because I think the reporter asked the question and the audio is a little muffled up.
You mentioned a couple times the victory lap you guys took in KC from the first game. What exactly was the victory lap, and is that something that you think about this week as far as bulletin board material or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, you can find a smart aleck bus driver in Kansas City who made some snide comments when we got on the bus. Maybe that's why we drove around the stadium, just to tick him off. This is ridiculous. Next question.
Well, that's his next question. But I mean, so he's saying, and not that I'm not sitting here trying to say, oh, let's talk about this. But he's saying that, I guess the Chiefs bus driver, the bus driver for their team that was going to take them back to the airport, was a Chiefs fan, I guess had some remarks as they got back on the bus. So then I guess they made him drive around a few times It doesn't really add up.
Doesn't really make sense.
No,
No,
it's kind of stupid, but it's
Like
almost
what-
kind of funny that it's just like I like, and I talked about this yesterday on the show. I like how much these two teams hate each other. I even saw when I started was looking in at posting some of our stuff. It's like hashtag like Raider Week, and I was just like laughing. I was like, oh man, they're ready to go out there in Kansas City, and I know they hate them more than anything, and I'm sure it's mutual. I'm sure I'm going to say Oakland multiple times talking about the Raiders in this segment, but no, right? I mean, it's about. These are the types of games I feel like those teams always lose, though, where it's like, hey, if you really want to be real, you're at home on the big stage against the big dogs, and they always kind of seem to pancake on the big stage. But I don't know. What do you think? You think the Raiders are good?
I mean, I think they're a good team. I think they're a very well coached team. You know, I've been definitely giving John Gruden a lot of credit, but I don't see them winning this one. I really don't. You know, the way teams have been coming off bye weeks this year has obviously been sluggish, so the Raiders might have that trend in their favor. But I just have a hard time believing the Chiefs are going to lose to the Raiders twice in 1 year. So
Yeah. Now, do you know what? And especially Andy Reid's been so good against them in his career. What was I going to say? Do you know what the spread is on that game?
I will know in about 5 seconds. Kansas City -7.
Oh, whoa.
That's a lot. That is a lot. So they're really taking this bus driver thing to
Vegas
heart there in Vegas.
Yeah, they're honestly they're kind of saying what I'm saying. That whole, like this is the game where it's like or the week of and get kind of excited and be like, oh my god, the Super Bowl chance. Are they on thin ice even in their own division with the team that we weren't expecting, the Raiders? Oh my god, it's like, yeah, no, I don't think so. Like
Yeah,
the Raiders
yeah, right.
won 3 in a row, but it's like not albeit, I don't know, like there's and I like them. I'm not trying to rip on the Raiders. I think Josh Jacobs is an absolute beast, and I mean I think Derek Carr's played pretty well. I think their defense has been really strong. I don't know. I just think that, and they took it to the Chiefs last game.
Yeah, they did. It's kind of interesting. Vegas giving 7 points to the traveling Chiefs, and they're like the hometown sports book now. It's like so they have a better field than anyone being in Vegas, right? So it's just kind of funny, but.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like the Raiders getting 7, man. I don't know. I think the Chiefs are going to win, but I don't know if it's going to be by more than a touchdown.
I don't know. I feel like we're going back down that road of like the Bengals game last week.
Oh, yeah, and I was like, oh, the Bengals could win it, and we saw
That's why I'm
that
afraid.
happen.
It's that typical they'll lose the game like 21-13 or something. It'll be like random, a real low scoring game. Like what?
Yeah, the spread will miss by a mixed extra point, or
Yeah, exactly.
or John Gruden decides to go for 2 when he doesn't have to, or something. Yeah.
But I'll tell you, let's what do you want to do? You want to stick in the NFC, or you want to move to the NFC, or you want to stick in the AFC?
Let's move to the NFC.
All right, so a little NFC chatter for you. All right, so the Thursday night game looks actually really good, right? I mean, we don't have to go into a super duper duper deep scope of this because I feel like we're going to be pretty much talking about this for like 40 minutes probably on Thursday. Right, but it's a good game, right? Really exciting game. Let me ask you this. Oh, this is great. This guy that lives across from our apartment complex has a motorcycle. And when he starts this thing up, it's like a 45-minute production. So this will be great for the rest of the show. You'll probably hear a motorcycle the rest of the show, but that's all right.
Oh, I don't hear it.
You can't hear it. That's good. All right. So I can hear it. It's quite annoying, but nonetheless, I'm getting fouled. I'm going to continue on and try to get the basket and the free throw. But
and 1, baby.
Yeah. Better stop. Wow. But there we go. But yeah. So anyway, let's look at NFC. Yeah. All right.
So the Cardinals are getting 3.5.
Let me ask you this. My question is, do you? I always hate being negative, but do you feel like what happens to the loser in this?
Yeah, no, I mean it's a good point because if you lose this game, it hurts very bad in that division. Obviously, the winner, if the Cardinals win.
So I guess let's walk down the avenue of both teams. Right, the obvious is if you're the Seahawks, you would be what? You'd lose 4 or 5.
Yep.
You're probably losing on some type of bad. You now lost 2 to the Cardinals. They can't, I almost feel like now I'm talking this out loud. They can't lose this game. They're at home. You really can't lose this game if you're the Seahawks.
No, they can't. If they lose, I think it's all downhill for there. I think they would still make the playoffs, but the divisional outlook wouldn't be pretty because it's so thick with that division right now.
And you talk about all the reason in the world, right, to play well. Dude, the Vikings are playing well. We just talked about that. The Lions are 4-5, right? The Falcons are playing better. There's teams that can catch them, right? Like if they were to fall, like it's not like there's just nobody sitting back there.
Yeah, no, exactly. The AFC is very top heavy, but the NFC has a lot in that middle tier where it's really thick with competition. In the divisional race, I think if the Seahawks lose, I don't think they win the division if they lose this game. To be honest,
no, I don't either.
This is basically a game to
this a little bit.
What's that?
I think the Seahawks are going to roll them in this game personally, but I know that's not. Yeah, I mean, you're almost rocking your Cardinal red today.
Yeah, right. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a close game for sure. I think. Yeah, I know. Yeah, whoever wins this game is going to have a serious advantage in that division. I'll get my deep dive analysis Thursday because.
Yeah, let's say so. To that point, I found an interesting stat though, because we're talking about quarterbacks and big games and stuff. This to me is like the stat I didn't know I needed to find, but here it is, and it's beautiful, right? So we've been talking wink wink, like kind of how Lamar Jackson has not been great this year. Baker, we always kind of say there's some question marks. Drew Lock, we said there's question. We all said like, okay, can everyone chill with those remarks saying that any GM that passed on him was should be fired, like all that, right? Dak Prescott still has more passing yards than all these guys, and he hasn't played since week 5. Isn't that wild?
That's a phenomenal stat.
It's great. You got to pay. You got to give Bleacher Report some credit. We blast them for some clickbait, but hey, when a good stat comes along, you got to give them love.
That's incredible. That really shows just how poorly those other guys are playing. Part of it has to do with the offensive scheme. I get it, but like, really, that's bad.
And there's a couple wrinkles, right? You look at Lamar and Baker, and to be fair, let me take a look. Of course, I can't read it. It's too small. I gotta eat some more carrots. Get that 20/20 vision a little sharper.
Me too.
Yeah, carrots are good. If you had to dip carrots in something, what would you dip them in?
Oh, vegetable dip all day.
Not ranch?
I think veggie dip's better, but ranch is right up there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
is that yours, ranch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good ranch. So.
Yeah. Like Newman's Own.
Is that your ranch? What's your? It's funny. Let's talk about ranch for a second. Let's just completely go off topic. What's your go-to ranch? Because I'll add this in when I go to Kansas City. Their ranch out there in Missouri is like incredible, and most of the places I feel like out there make it homemade, and which is a production, but a lot of them are not like they're surprised, and I'm surprised that they would make it. To that point when I mentioned like, oh, like we have ranch, like what, like Hidden Valley of them is like the Natty Light of ranch.
Yeah. I grew up on Hidden Valley, so
that's what I told them. Yeah. I'm not ripping. Hey, and hey, we grew up in college on Natty Light.
That's right. That's right.
I'm sorry, I sound like such a teenager there saying.
Do you put ranch on pizza?
I don't voluntarily do it, but I if someone like said you got to do it, everyone's doing it. I'm like, okay, I can do that. And if it was like a place that had like signature ranch and like a crisp, like if they say like, oh, that's what we do at this restaurant, it's like a specialty. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. But I don't like voluntarily be like, oh, I need to go. Do you guys have ranch like for my crust?
Yeah, right.
It's a little weird.
Because I remember in high school that was like the thing to get pizza and ranch and dip it and all that.
Oh yeah.
I never got into it. I mean, it tastes fine, but
I don't like the ranch Colt. I love ranch, but I think the Colt's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
We'll talk a little food though later on in the show. That's
a good
little ranch break. All right, but looking at this, I mean, let me ask you: out of 1, 2, how many of those guys are going to make the playoffs? And over under 2.5 playoff wins out of that group.
Over under 2.5 out of the group.
Yeah, so like
I'm taking the under all day. I would handle the under.
You don't think they could combine, rack up that many playoff wins?
No. So you're saying
not going to make
Drew Lock's out. Cam Newton, I think, is out too.
Patriots are toast.
And even if they do make it, they're not winning a game. Baker Mayfield, they're not winning a game if they get in. So it's going to really be up to Lamar Jackson. We've seen him we see whatever. I'm very negative. On
It's
this
like
list.
that's literally how I was like trying to like see if I could trip you up in that little path anyway.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see though. It's an interesting little hypothetical.
It is. Yeah. That's a great stat. That's a great
isn't
find.
it? It's also great. Mike Tomlin, dude. We should almost do a segment just like what did Mike Tomlin say, like in a fun. I just love his grit and his intensity and his lust for the game but also the respect and the class of everything about him. But did you hear what he was talking about with trap games today?
No, I didn't.
All right, here I'm going to play this for everyone because this is just like in his Hall of Fame of quotes.
To the trap game discussion, I understand that that's things that you guys like to talk about, but this is the NFL, and more than anything, the guys know my attitude regarding that. We are not a Big Ten team playing a MAC opponent, players and coaches, and we got a ridiculous level of respect for that. And so, write your story, man. Follow your storylines about trap games and things of that nature. We understand what we're going into in Jacksonville, that's a group that's trying to kick our butt, a professional group, a capable group, and we're preparing with that understanding.
Oh my God, I love it. He's saying when they asked about a trap game, if saying this isn't a Big Ten team playing a MAC team. It's great. But it's interesting. Let me ask you this. I fully get what he's saying, and I fully understand this ideology of like any given Sunday. And I trust me, I've said this before on and off the show that I think that everyone sometimes loses the idea that these guys are that good. They're the best of the best of the best at like you can lose a game. Like it's possible. And Aaron Rodgers even kind of said that on Pat McAfee's podcast today. Right. Saying like, people just have it when they see, oh, we're playing a 1-win team. Like we have to blow them out. Like we just got to beat them. Like got to beat them. Like they're, which makes sense. But at that point, why does it seem like we can sit there and even you kind of heard Tomlin's answer, like basically saying you guys call them trap games, like that's your like world that you live in, but they definitely happen.
Yeah, no, they have been for sure. But to go off of Aaron Rodgers' point, I mean, he's exactly right. Like these guys are playing to put food on their table. It's not like they're just playing pickup or like college football. Yeah, you have your scholarship to lose, but like. This is a totally different world, I think, and it's the best of the best. And there absolutely have been trap games before in our eyes. Maybe the athletes don't view them that way, though.
Funny you say that, though, because I feel like a lot of these teams, they are, in a sense, it's more of a trap game if you have a lot of talent, a lot of money, like already locked up kind of a thing. And then like that, like where there's just like, I'm going to take the day off, even though, like that type of stuff might happen. But if you're right, young teams, quote unquote like fighting, to stay on a roster and stuff and you look at the Jaguars, they're a really young team. They're a good example of that. But yeah, I don't, and that's who they're playing, and they obviously have given Pittsburgh their fair share of struggles too.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they're not an easy, they haven't been an easy team for them, that's for sure. So it might be a better game than we think.
Yeah, it might. Now it's that real quick.
Broke up.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, you want to roll into a little hoops chatter?
Oh boy, let's do it. I'm pretty passionate about this hoops chatter.
I know. Emoji bombs.
Yeah, all right.
Whatever. All right, break down this James Harden thing for me, Zach. I need to get my thoughts in order. I need you to pat first here.
Yeah, well, I'll lay the numbers and the situation out, and then I'm just going to probably get emotional, and I'll dive into what I really think. So
that's what I love.
Yeah. So Harden rejected a $50 million, which would make him the first ever $50 million a year professional basketball player in the history of the game.
That's a lot of money.
Rejected a $50 million yearly, deal with the Rockets or, extension with the Rockets because he said he wants to get traded, and he wants to get traded to nowhere else other than the Brooklyn Nets so he can play basketball and team up with two of the arguably best players in the league, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. And, who I'm going to blame this all on, Kieran? This is typical ruined NBA, thanks to LeBron James deciding that he wants to go here this year and join this super team and bring people with him here and form their own teams. And it's just ruined the NBA. And then now you got James Harden, who's one of the best players in the league, who wants to team up with one of the best players in the league. and have their own little super team here. And the NBA might as well only be 6 teams. It might as well only literally be 6 teams because what's the point anymore?
There's no parity.
It's not fun to watch. It's ruining the game.
Well, it's funny you say that because that's actually my right. I think everyone, not everyone, but right, the masses, especially in the Twitter world, social media circuits, right. Do you see this common trend of people saying, "Oh, I love the NBA off season. It's more exciting than the actual season," right? And I've said it too. Like I'm not even like passing judgment on people that said that. But the problem and the point is, I sat there and I thought about it today, and I was like, "That's the problem, though, isn't it?" When you actually like break down the machine, if you will, right, like in the process. So we're all saying if for the season's not great. Well, this is what is constructing the product, the off season. Like, so if we don't like how it's these, buddies ganging up with buddies and guys asking to get traded places, right? Which I think sours a lot of folks, the working class folks that love just watching basketball after work, because I think they sit there and say, I can't force myself to get moved to a different apartment or forced to get paid more money. And I would do anything to get paid $50 million for a day or a year or a month, whatever. Right. But I think that's part of it too. But at the end of the day, I also just think there's just such a turn off of the NBA because it's like, we're the GMs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the players have had a lot of power, I feel like, in the NBA in regards to salary, right, guaranteed money and things like that. I know a lot of people would maybe sit there and say, oh, well, it's good for them. And yeah, fine. Like, obviously, from a financial standpoint, good for them. But the product, like, where we sit there, I'm not even that interested. This is the first year. I don't even really care because you're right. Everything's gonna, you already see the Bucks are making moves left and right. They've got Drew Holiday and then whatever. They're trying to build a team up for Giannis, but it's just like, okay, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Okay, maybe it'll work for the Sixers if they somehow got James Harden. Like, okay, maybe it'll work for the Nets. Okay, well, LeBron's still got AD. Okay, right? Okay, did I name everybody pretty much?
Basically, it's just everything is so short-sighted anymore with the NBA. It's like, oh, this, everything changes so much. It's exciting, but at the same point, it's like, where's like the integrity and competitive drive that these players have? So James Harden going to Brooklyn to team up with Durant and Kyrie Irving is kind of like taking the easy way out, right? We've had this conversation for years about, with Kevin Durant going to Golden State. It's the same conversation. It's just, it's kind of, maybe it's a generational thing with this sense of entitlement, maybe, where it's like, oh, I don't like it here, so I'm going to force my hand and we're going to go there. Like, I'm going to get what I want. It just doesn't seem.
Yeah, it's like how the instant gratification, that whole thing, I feel like with our society today. And I also think, I just lost my train of thought and all that because you had so many good points. No, I right, but no, you're right. First of all, what does it say, right, about us? It's just, it's not good basketball. Like, right? Because then you have like load management during the season and all this stuff. It's
Kieran. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, please, no.
I was just saying, and this is coming from, like I've talked to you before, I played fantasy basketball religiously for like 10, 15 years and was all into it.
You're trying to tell me, like, what I want to get in that league and how you watch NBA, Game Pass or whatever. You had, like, we're watching all the games because of like Red Zone every night.
Yeah, exactly. Every night was a fun night, basically, but the last 4 years, or 3 years, whatever it's been, I stopped because it's just not fun anymore. It's literally the same teams that, every time, and it's only a select few teams that are good. It's just so...
How are you supposed to get better if guys can just move around whenever they want?
Well, and think about it. How many like top draft picks have we seen get bounced around and traded and not given a fair chance, on their team that drafted them because they're too busy trying to acquire the biggest names so they can all play together. You know what I mean? It just kind of ruins. I feel like it ruins the process for a lot of players, and it's really it's not encouraging. That's for sure.
No, I couldn't agree more. And it's funny, like I'm looking at like this tweet. It's like everyone's like, oh, did you see what James Harden posted on Instagram about this cap? It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on. Let's go to happier times, right? Let's jump in. I was gonna say let's do a little show versus street. You want to talk about cold cuts first?
Oh, hey, we got ranch.
I like this. You gotta let this ride. you got Gabagool you could pick from, and Jerry Trubbiano from South Jersey.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah, we're going.
Sorry, I just had a moment there.
No, it was perfect, man. And unfortunately, it cut out. It cut out half of it. So all I heard was Joe Tribbiano from South Jersey.
Gary Gabagool.
Hey, Gabagool, yeah.
Hey, gotta get the Gabagool.
Well, we're close to Gabagool. We're gonna go with prosciutto. Get some prosciutto cold cuts.
Okay, what's that?
Prosciutto, but prosciutto is what we call it. It's an Italian meat.
Is it like ham or like what?
Yeah, but it's like ham, but it's very chewy. It's delicious. It's sweet.
Okay, so I think I know what that one looks like. It has like almost like a fattiness to it.
Yeah, exactly. You take that, roll it up with some provolone, bite it. It's great.
Really?
That was phenomenal.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. We might have to go on like a little cold cut run because
drizzle a little olive oil and
now we're talking. I want to live that world.
Yeah, dude, it's great.
Promise if you invite me into that world, I'm never leaving.
You can just sit there and just eat all day long. Like, I might do that while I work.
Myself, Jerry Trubbiano.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What about you? What's on your cold cut list?
I've always been a roast beef guy.
Ooh, can't go wrong with roast beef.
Well, I felt like it's a good French dip sandwich, right? I don't know. Anytime you can break out an excuse to get the au jus sauce out, I feel like you're going in for a win.
Yeah,
you're going in for a victory. You got cheesesteaks you can put on that. Someone just said, "Hey, here's roast beef." I'm like, "Yeah, hell yeah!" It's like a roast.
Man, you're making me hungry. I'm gonna eat.
I'm
about to go eat a second dinner.
I ate cheese curls before the show, so I'm like,
"Ooh, oh yeah, you're craving for that now." Yeah,
I know.
Get some protein.
I went to run out to Run to get some gay gabagool. Yeah.
Ooh, there you go.
I'll FaceTime. Call your mother. Like do the whole Italian thing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, but also, do you want to wrap up the show, the little show versus street?
Oh yeah, we owe it. It's a Tuesday, right?
Yeah, I feel like we haven't done it in a minute. So yeah, this is always a fun segment.
Yeah, I'm gonna kick it off to you first. Is that all right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to give everyone a quick little? I always loved it. This is a great idea you came up with. Just for anyone. Before, of course, I'm cutting out right now. Sorry about that. No, I was saying, do you want to just give everyone a quick debrief? I don't know what it's up. It's this damn computer or whatever. It's always something, right?
There's always something.
But but I was gonna give the people. Damn it! Sorry.
A preview of Show versus Street. What it's about?
Yeah, exactly. Because I was gonna say the YouTube and Facebook people are new, so I don't know if they know what it is yet.
Yeah, so Show versus Street is basically where we take a topic that is kind of in the news and sports, and we throw it one at each other, and we basically say, what's your show take, meaning like your professional opinion on what you would say on the show, and what's your street take, which is something you would say maybe after 2 or 3, Bud Lights, if you will, late night at a bar, and what you really think deep down inside. So
from the heart
with some emotion. So that's how we do Show versus Street every Tuesday night to wrap up the shows.
All right, lay it.
Yeah.
So you want me to go first?
No, I'm going to lay it on you, I think, first. So
I'll take the ball, receive.
So, all right, perfect. So after last night, Kieran, do the Vikings have a legitimate shot at making the playoffs?
Yeah, I think so. Pull up their schedule real quick. I think that's really.
I think this is Show Kieran coming out.
It is. Yeah, this is Show Kieran first. Sorry, I should have probably emphasized that. Although in a weird way, like my opinions are not different, just my tone is. But here, let me. All right, so they got the So look, this was part of it, right? They got the Cowboys next week. Then they got the Panthers at home. Both of those are at home. At home. So they got 3 at home games. They've already won 3 in a row. And those were not just 3 slouchy games. They're all 3 NFC North games. 2 of the 3 on the road, right? They won at Soldier Field. They won at Lambeau Field, albeit they were empty, but still those are huge wins. Right. Then they're at Tampa, home against the Bears, at the Saints, at the Lions. That's tough. We talked about will the math be there? Well, here's the thing with the Vikings, right? You're gonna have to beat the Bucs. They're going to be a wild card team. If you want to jump somebody, you're going to have to win a game like that and hope. Because, right, I feel like in a sense there will be losses to be had in these interdivisional games, and they'll be able to probably leap over a team or two, but they got to do their part. I think they can make the playoffs. I don't think the chances are very good. I think the chances get way better if they expand that one extra spot. Then I think they definitely will make the playoffs. But no, I think they can, but. I would say it's a steep road because it's really hard when I think 3 teams ever done it when they started 1-5. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The odds are against you already there.
Yeah, and in Street Kieran would say, well, yeah, there are. Well, there's a few looks at it, right? You don't want to play them now. There's a part of me that actually, if I like as a Packers fan, would actually like to play them now. Not really that I ever want to see them because they scare me, but right, because it's like, okay, let's actually see what happens now. I don't know, beating the Lions at home, beating the Bears in not a super sexy way, albeit their defense is really. But I don't know. I think there's definitely reason to be optimistic. I'd be scared. Look, let's put this. Let's say the Packers stay the 1 seed somehow, and then they open it up to 8 teams and they're playing the Vikings. That's like my worst nightmare. I don't want to see that. Team like that. They play good defense. They have all the capabilities to make a playoff run. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, they like you just said, they pull off a little win streak here, so we'll see if they can continue. Should be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah. But all right, let me ask. You want me to kick it over to you?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'll kind of come in with fastball at you. I think, right, I'm going to just be a guy you met on the street, right? I'm almost going to be the person that's had a couple Bud Lights. Not that I have.
Oh,
but
jeez.
Honestly, I hate Bud Light, personally.
Oh, me too.
Syrup in it or something.
Yeah,
I hate
it's
it.
not good.
But let's just pretend hypothetically, right? I come home from happy hour, had a few Bud Lights, and I'm saying, yo, Zach, dude, the Giants. I get it, man. I know you're happy. And I'm not trying to burst your bubble, but you guys still suck. Like, you're not good. You haven't been good all year. You haven't believed until 2 minutes ago. Like, it's like, stop. Like, it's cute, like, to believe in something, but this is no different than like me as a Marlins fan getting excited for like 2 minutes.
That's an extremely accurate comment that someone would make, especially in this area.
Yeah, in this geographical area.
In this location.
Yeah.
Well, that was perfect, except it probably would have been a little louder and, other things, but
maybe some unlike Philip Rivers language. Not gosh darn it.
Exactly. So my show take would be, yes, Mr. or Mrs. Person, like the 2-time Super Bowl winning coach for the Giants, Bill Parcells, says, you are what your record says you are, right? So 3-7 is obviously a very bad record. So that would mean very bad team, right? So I do understand why someone would say they're a bad team. But the reason why there is a lot of hype and excitement on my end and other Giants people's end is because of how bad every other team is in the division and how close it is, regardless of the record, and yeah, so regardless, yes, are they a bad team? I wouldn't say they're bad. I think they're improving. The record says they're a bad team, but the reason why there's all the hype is because they're so close in the divisional race. Now, my street take would be, well, did you not watch the game on Sunday? Because they were not too bad on Sunday, were they? Or the week before, granted, against the Washington football team, I understand. But if you look at the playoff chance, you got to stack the wins. And if you look at the playoff chances, and if you look at the schedules for all the teams in the division moving forward, no one has an easy road. Some might be slightly harder than others, but the chances are there. So, why would I be negative and say they're a bad team, when there's still a chance? I don't care. Make the playoffs. What do we talk about? It's the same thing with fantasy football, Kieran. Right? You just got to go 1 week at a time, and you got to make the playoffs. That's all it is.
I'm excited about this week. Granted, you're on a bye, but still, it's exciting. I think it's really exciting just to see. I'm really excited about that Eagles-Browns game.
Well, that's going to be every game. Each week moving forward is going to be so great because every game just means that much more because the playoffs are getting closer and closer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the Packers have a big game against the Colts Sunday. They got Troy Aikman and Joe Buck on the call, baby.
I know. My buddy Nick's going to be there.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
My buddy Nick, I was saying he's like you. Like, he's the South version of you. Yeah, exactly. That I met at Lambeau. I love that story, too, how we met up there at the Bears game. But, yeah, so he's going to be there doing the drive over to Indy with his wife, Sarah. So that's going to be really cool. I think some of their family are going to go. Yeah, so
awesome.
So you got to bring the vibes. I guess I'm kind of wearing the wrong colors today. That's okay. You can wear it on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's all right.
But yeah, this is a lot of fun. And Thursday Night Football is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to talk about that show coming up, or, just talk about that game on the show, I should say, on Thursday.
Yeah, that's That's like we said earlier. That's basically a playoff game in its own right. That's a game for the division. Loser of that game will not win the division.
Right.
Plain and simple.
And I'll tell you what, it's a perfect little segue for us. We won't be winning at all in life if you don't give us some love, right? We need a little love.
That's right.
Spotify and iTunes is where you can go for all your fun audio episodes. You want to drive or go on a trip, right? You can't download it. You can rock the audio episodes. Maybe you're working out, right? You're just running. You want to hear, for whatever reason, you want to hear us talk when you're working out. That's fine with me. And I'm sure Zach, you want to care either. But maybe they'll fire people up, pump some iron, right? There you go.
Yeah.
But and then check us out also on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit @_get sidetracked. And then check us out on the website, of course, at www.track.com. And then let's move over to the video stuff, right? There's some cool stuff on Twitch. We always love the follows and the subscriptions, the follow to the left and the subscription to the right. So really love that. And then, yeah, check us out on YouTube. That is completely free. So just hit the old subscribe button and I think that's probably the top spots to go to if you want to see all the highlights that we cut up for most of our podcasts. We have that. So if you don't have time to listen to an hour-long podcast, we have some cool 1 to 10 minute type clips in there for everyone. But if you're more the shopping type, hey, well, holidays are right around the corner for you, right? You can go to Sidetrack, some cool gear. Our marketing person, Kelly Weiland, did an incredible job putting all this together. So with the logo and stuff, so now we have some cool stuff that's on the site. So and send us the gear. We love that. But yeah, this was a good time, Zach. Hey, you know what? We're just rolling through. It's chilly. I got the hat on, trying to rock the winter vibes a little bit today.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's getting chilly up here in Northeast PA. We got Thanksgiving right around the corner and other holidays we're celebrating. So it's about that time.
It is. And I guess to that point, it's about that time for us to jump off the air. So we'll see everyone back here in the living room.